Hello, everybody. This is Louis Muñoz from the Morristown and Morris Township Library in New Jersey, and today's book recommendation is Ask Again Yes by Beth Keane. This is her third book, and some of you might be familiar with her earlier book, Fever, which fictionalized the life of Typhoid Mary. This book came out in the middle of last year, and it made its way to the best of list of many reviewers and critics. It garnered great word of mouth from the reading public, you and I, and it's being made into a miniseries which will hopefully come out later this year or perhaps next year. As one NPR reviewer put it, one of the central questions of the book is, how much can one family forgive? As the writer herself put it on the Jimmy Fallon show, she asked this: what if Romeo and Juliet had not died but had lived, and now the two families have to cope with one another even though they hate each other, and Romeo leaves the boxes on the floor, and Juliet forgets the dishes in the dishwasher. The sweet nothings phase of their romance is over, and now they have to live forever, somehow happily ever after. So the link to that interview is down below. This is what Louise Erdrich has to say about the book. Beth Keane takes on one of the most difficult problems in fiction, how to write about human decency. And I find this to be true. It's very easy to write about people doing bad things in the book. There's lots of ways to mind that kind of drama. But how do you write about people trying to do good things and lead good lives? Much more difficult to do that. Keane creates a layered emotional truth that makes a compelling case for compassion over blame, understanding over grudge, and the resilience of hearts that can accept the contradictions of love. And Meg Wolitzer said, readers will love this book as I did. I certainly did. So what is this book about? It's about two families over the course of almost 50 years, the Stanhopes and the Gleasons. Peter Stanhope and Brian Gleason are rookie cops when we first start reading this book, 1973 in New York. You can guess that there's going to be a lot of drama right from the beginning of the book. Brian Gleason gets married, moves with his wife, Lena, to a town about an hour or two north of New York. They have two daughters. Peter Stanhope moves with his wife, Anne, who's an Irish immigrant from Dublin, into the house next door about 3 years later. They had gotten married actually before the Gleasons, and they had been expecting a child who died. It's not much of a spoiler to tell you this. And there's lots of self-recriminations, etc., that come from this tragedy. Not the only tragedy of the book. So the two families are next door to each other. The Stanhopes do have a child eventually. His name is Peter, and he's born in early 1977. And then the Gleasons have their third and final daughter in August of that same year. So these two children, Peter and Kate, are growing up together right from the very beginning, and they're joined from the hip right from the beginning. And so it's not a big surprise that they start to have romantic feelings towards each other as teenagers. Unfortunately, this leads to one of the biggest tragedies of the book, and huge resentments and recriminations between the two families that echo throughout the rest of the book. So I don't want to say too much more about what does happen in the rest of the book, but I will say that one of the things that I liked about the book is that it shifts perspectives between different characters. And if you've ever read Atonement or seen the movie, both are good, by the way, you'll know that the book and the movie shifts between different characters there as well. And we get to see how each of the different characters sees what is happening along the way. And this is what happens also in Ask Again Yes. So I will say this about the book's title. This is from an interview with the author. She says, the title didn't leap to mind immediately, but I didn't struggle either. I like to title things early because titles help me focus. I knew I wanted the book to end in a book of optimism. I knew that these characters would go through a world of heartache, but the whole point for me was to say that life, love, whatever, it's all worth it. But at the same time, I wanted the book to be honest, and I wanted it to be totally unsentimental. And so this is something that I'll leave you with. I hope that you'll have a chance to read this book. And until the next time, please take care.